All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a really common problem, something we literally all do in our daily communication, and that is overusing the word important. We kind of just default to it out of cognitive laziness, or maybe we're just rushing to get a point across. And hey, it's a perfectly fine word, sure. But if you want to sound incredibly clear, deliberate, and, well, advanced, we really need to upgrade your vocabulary toolkit.
So that actually leads us to a pretty big question, right? How exactly do you sound clear and advanced? Well, the professional and psychological impact of using precise language is honestly massive. It instantly signals authority and shows a really deep understanding of your subject. So today, we're going to build a specialized toolkit to do exactly that. We are stepping way back from the generic and moving right into the precise.
Section 1, the absolute necessities. Let's shift our focus here to things that we fundamentally just cannot live without. Okay, our first word is essential. Now, when something is essential, it is completely necessary. It literally means that without it, things simply do not work. Essential. Just let that strict definition really sink in for a second. To really lock this in, I want you to picture water. You simply cannot live without it, right? That is what it means for something to be absolutely, truly essential. So let's look at how this actually plays out in a sentence. Sleep is essential for good health. I mean, listen how deliberate that sounds. Saying sleep is important is okay, but saying sleep is essential, that completely elevates the sentence. It tells you definitively that without sleep, good health just doesn't work. All right, now let's look at a very close cousin to our first word, and that is vital. Vital. This also means extremely necessary. Picture a really complex machine right now in your head. Got it? Okay. Now picture the one vital piece that this machine absolutely cannot run without. If it's missing just that one single piece, the whole thing rapidly freezes up. And here's how that applies so beautifully to human connections. Trust is vital in a relationship. A relationship is honestly just like that machine. Without trust, it simply stops running altogether. Now, what's super interesting here is comparing these two side by side. We have essential, meaning completely necessary, versus vital, meaning extremely necessary. You can see they are almost identical. In fact, they're often used together because both fundamentally mean, hey, you truly cannot do without this. Section 2, the deciding factor. Let's move from basic necessity into urgent, serious action. And the word we're looking at here is crucial. Crucial. This means something is so important that it actually decides the outcome. It is the deciding factor. It's a step up from essential, really, because it dictates what happens next. To bring this one to life, picture the exact moment in a game that decides who wins. The score is tied, the clock is running out, and the very next move determines the champion. That right there, that is a crucial moment. So the crucial point is, this decision is crucial. See what I did there? It's not just important, it is the specific decision that determines the outcome of literally everything that follows. Section 3, foundations and turning points. Let's transition into our final two words, which deal with deep, structural concepts and massive shifts in momentum. First up in this section is fundamental. Fundamental. This means at the very base, the foundation that everything else is built on. Just let the heaviness of that word resonate for a second. Fundamental. It's incredibly deep and it's highly structural. Picture the foundation of a house. Imagine that thick, heavy concrete base. If you remove it, everything falls down. That is exactly what fundamental means. And look at how this architectural metaphor perfectly applies to our emotional concepts too. Honesty is fundamental to trust. Without honesty placed at the very base, the entire structure of trust just collapses. Okay, now we arrive at our final word, pivotal. Pivotal. This means something is so important that it's an actual turning point. It's incredibly dynamic. Literally, everything shifts around it. To brilliantly illustrate this concept, I want you to picture a hinge. It is the single point that everything turns on, right? A massive heavy metal door moves entirely because of that one small mechanism. Now think about this application. It was a pivotal moment in her career. A career can literally pivot, changing its entire trajectory around one specific turning point event. Section 4, sharpen your writing. Let's pull all of this together and look at how we can actively apply these words to dramatically upgrade your daily communication. All right, let's do a rapid fire recap of all 5 words and their core meanings just to really lock them in. Essential means completely necessary. Vital is extremely necessary. Crucial decides the outcome. Fundamental is the very foundation. And pivotal is the turning point. Remember, guys, all 5 of these are so much stronger than just saying the word important. You just have to pick the one that matches your exact meaning. Now, listen to this absolute masterclass of a sentence. Trust is essential to any relationship. Honesty is fundamental to it, and their first conversation was a pivotal moment. Wow. Do you hear how sharp and precise your writing can sound when you use the exact right word? It's a total game changer. I highly recommend you shadow me with these words every day, and I promise they will truly grow in your mind. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to ponder. What was a pivotal moment in your life? Think about that turning point for a second, and hey, let me know your answer in the comments below. See you next time.